garden friends, AJ here. Sometimes coming out here early in the morning is your best bet. The weather is nice and mild, the sun is not high in the sky, and you have that initial vigor, that morning vigor that just gets you going and you want to accomplish as much as possible. So yeah, it's very mild this morning. It's probably in the upper 60s, low 70s right now. And here I'm starting off by trimming back all the dianthus. It's very easy to do. I trimmed them into nice little mounds, as you can see. And so far, over the last 2 years, they've all grown into a nice mat, suppressing any weeds. Directly behind it, I have a row of lavender that's starting to get pretty big. So each of these mounds of lavender are roughly 3 to 3.5 feet wide. And right now they're probably 2 feet tall. So I'm gonna continue with this dianthus down here. All right, look at that. Oopsies. Nice and trimmed. Nice little haircut. So these will continue to bloom throughout the season, but I'll show a picture or a little video clip of its first flush. I mean, it was glorious. All right, guys, on to the next task. Right here by the fountain garden, I'm gonna get these boxwood clipped up. This one here seems to behave itself. Its growth habit is nice and straight up. This one over here, for whatever reason, hopefully it's not voles, has been leaning like this for the past several days. So I'm gonna have to inspect it. First, I'm gonna rock it back and forth just to see if there's something more than just a lazy growth habit. So I don't feel any loosening roots. So that's a good thing. Go ahead and shake this up real quick. All right, so it's definitely a columnar shape, but more of a cone columnar shape. This one right here is botched, so we're just gonna have to train it as it goes, as it grows. Get everything out of here. So after I prune my boxwood, and that's anywhere in the garden, I like to fertilize and deeply water them. So what I was going to do, in addition to using the fertilizer I'll show you shortly, I was going to put some extra potash in it, but there's no need. The ratio on here for NPK, potash is 60%, which is pretty high. That's your last number. Looking at this top Buxus product that I normally use for Boxwood, it contains a ratio of 13, 3, 13. So that's enough. It's a pretty comprehensive fertilizer for Boxwood. It has a high nitrogen ratio of 13%, but a low middle number of 3, which is potassium. But the last number 13 is high as well, and that's your potash. So it has a ratio of 13, 3, 13, which means the first number, which is the nitrogen, is pretty high, 13% of the product. And as you can tell, I'm reading, so I know what I'm talking about. The middle number is 3%, and that is phosphate. All right, and phosphate is used for flowering and fruiting, which the Boxwood, when they do flower, it's very insignificant. So that's not a high number for a reason. The last number, which is 13%, which is a lot, is the phosphate. Is the potash. Okay, so that's the K. It's K2, and the oxygen is 0. But the phosphate, which is the second number, I'm sorry if I'm going in a little bit too granular here. The second number is 3%, and that's phosphate, and that's P2 and oxygen 5. So if you guys know your scientific table, feel free to Google it, and you'll be able to find a better description as to what each of those products do and what they contribute to your plant. That last number, which was 13%, which is your potash, that's used for vigor. And that's why I'm glad I did a little reading. I don't need to put extra potash. All right. Right on the front, it says it promotes plant vigor. So potash, my understanding of potash is it strengthens the cellular walls of your stems, your branches, that whole network, okay, of cells that transfer all of the necessary nutrients from the soil up through roots and to and throughout your plant. That's my understanding as to the use of potash. All right. It also has, I'm talking about top Buxus right now. It also has 2.5% calcium. I'm sorry, 2% calcium and 2.5% magnesium. And it's water soluble magnesium. It also has 9% sulfur. So anyhow, I go ahead and just get a handful and sprinkle it around the base. It's more than enough. And I do the same on the other plant. right, and just water that in. What I have to understand about this boxwood is it's sharing the same root zone as this Samburu rose, which I have climbing up that trellis, and it also links to that trellis right there. And I have a clematis, and I have a clematis up top here. I believe that clematis is called, it's not the president. I'll put the name up on the screen, but it's a really pale blue. It's beautiful. And then it's also sharing a root zone with this huge halicon. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'll put the name of the hosta up on the screen, which has been benefiting from when I'm fertilizing the roses. See, I fertilize these roses every 2 weeks, every 2.5 weeks, and I'll show you guys the fertilizer shortly. But clearly that hosta is benefiting from that fertilization. So it will, all three of these will benefit from that fertilization that I'm giving that boxwood. And since we're talking boxwood, right, I was able to prune this hedge that's in the sun garden. It's going to get pretty bright, guys. So I was able to prune this hedge right here. It still looks kind of rough, but believe it or not, it looks light years better than it did just a year or 2 years ago. So this right here is a Green Mountain boxwood. When it's left unpruned, it's easily close to 5 feet. All right, right now it's probably, I don't know, 4 feet 8, but it's sizable. And as you can tell, this hedge is a little wonky, but after pruning it, I went ahead and tried to clean out as many leaves, clipped leaves on the interior as possible. And you can still see some coming out. That's something you just have to do on the daily, because what you'll see are the dead leaves browning out. So you'll just reach in here and pull them out. So you don't want them to deteriorate on the interior of the plant. So they'll start dying out. This right here, I don't know if somebody stepped on it, but the branches were dramatically growing horizontally. But as you can see, there's still some gaps and some holes. So you just got to stay on top of it. Make sure it gets fertilized throughout the season and adequately watered. This area right here is a jungled mess. The comfrey has taken over, which I love comfrey. It's great to make a fertilizer out of, you know, for your plants, especially for your vegetables, which I do. But in amongst it, I have poison ivy. I don't know if you guys can see that. You can see it right there, the 3 leaves. So it has poison ivy. This right here, I believe, is a summer wine 9-bark, which I cut down and I'm about to take out. This whole area is gonna get retooled. So I gotta remove all the comfrey, but I'm letting all the bees get their eat, right? Get their eat on. Clean it out. This is roughly probably 12, 13 feet deep by 10 feet wide. And I have a nice design in store for this area. But yeah, so that's the situation with the boxwood. I also pruned some others. Let me show you guys. With boxwood, you have a small window within the spring to go ahead and prune, because once temps start getting above 80 or the low 80s, that's pretty much the end. Because when you cut or you prune anything, especially as dense as boxwood, you expose a lot of fresh inner growth or tender inner growth, right? And as the temps rise, clearly, that can damage the outer layer of leaves of your boxwood, and so it starts to look unsightly. Let me turn this camera around. So this area right here, I'm slowly working on. All right. This is the cut flower garden area, and if I turn around, here's the greenhouse. But these box right here, these are cone box. I still got to come in here and refine the shape, but most of it's been clipped nice and tidy. So right here, so I got those done, and I got this bad boy taken care of finally. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. It's very impromptu. I didn't really plan it, but I just wanted to show you, some of the maintenance that I do in the garden. Periodic maintenance that's needed. There's a lot more that I'm actually behind in, and that's just the norm for gardening. So anyhow, I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned. Take care. Oh, also, I just potted up a bunch of dahlias last night. And these are all gonna go on the floor where it's cooler and there's a lot more shade. So a greenhouse is fun to have, but there's a lot of maintenance that's involved. You gotta make sure, if you do have living things in here, that the climate is agreeable for those plants, because you can lose your plants in an instant. So I got some peppers right here that I've been growing on. I've got to go ahead and plant those shortly. Probably sometime today I'll go ahead and plant them. Let's see. Which one is this? This is a orange Scott bonnet. So I just purchased a bunch of seedlings. They were a lot smaller than these. I've just been growing them on. And this one is purple cayenne. What is this? This is a peony. It's actually putting out some growth, which is promising. And what's this purple one? That one is Pink Tiger Peach. Boot something. B-H-U-T. If I could focus. Anyway, it's a beautiful pepper. This one right here was marginal. Not even sure what that is. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, it was just a stick. And it actually grew a leaf, so that's promising. I gotta water all of these. I got a little organic insect control thing. See, greenhouses, when you leave your door open, I've got screen windows in here, but when you leave your door open, for airflow purposes, I gotta go ahead and open up that door. I ended up putting 2 doors in here. But when you leave your door open, you're inviting a lot of pests, so I use that organic insect control spray, which it's organic, so it's not going to be super duper aggressive in keeping the bug population down. But I don't want to introduce anything too toxic around plants, especially plants that, I plan to consume their fruit. All right, guys, that concludes this video. See you guys in the next one.